Hello students, welcome to Indraprastha Law College, Greater Noida. My name is Jyoti Gaur and our today's topic is demand. And in demand, we will discuss about demand schedule, types of demand schedule, what is demand curve, reasons for the sloping down of demand curve and limitations of the law of demand. So first we will discuss about demand schedule. Demand schedule is a table showing different quantities being demanded of a given commodity at various level of prices. And it shows the inverse relationship between price of the commodity and its quantity demanded. Demand schedule, we can say the law of demand is represented through demand schedules, and these demand schedules summarize the information on prices and quantity demanded. The demand schedule can be classified as individual demand schedule and the market demand schedule. First is individual demand schedule. Individual demand schedule refers to a table that shows various quantities of a commodity that a consumer is willing to purchase at different prices during a given period of time. Here is an example you have seen individual demand schedule. Here are the prices like rupees 10, rupees 20, 30, 40 and 50, and quantity demanded of a commodity we will assume it's a commodity X. In units we demand 50 at the price of 10. At price 20 we will demand an individual demand 40. When price goes to 30 he demanded 30 units. Price goes to 40 he demanded 20, and price goes to 50 he or she demand unit 10. So it shows individual demand schedule. Next is market demand schedule. Market demand schedule is a tabular statement showing various quantities of a commodity that all the consumers are willing to buy at various levels of price. We can say it is the sum of all individual demand schedule at each and every price. Market demand schedule can be expressed as, like in this diagram, it is shown that price is 10, 20, 30, 40, and there are two individuals in the market, individual A, individual B. Individual A demanded 50 units of commodity at price 10. Individual A demanded 40 units at price 20, 30 units at 30, 20 units at the rate of 40 and 10 units at the rate of 50, and the same at the same price individual B demanded 60 at the price of 10 rupees, 50 units at the price of 20 rupees, 40 units at the price of 30 rupees, 30 at the price of 40, and 20 units at the price of 50. So here we can sum total of it like individual A and individual B. So we will sum total of it 50 plus 60 is equal to 110. So the market demand is rupees at 10 is 110 units. At rupees 20 it will be 90 units. At rupees 30 it will be 70 rupees. At rupees 40 market demand is 50 rupees 50 units, and 50 rupees it will be 30 units, right? So these are the individual demand schedule and market demand schedule. Now comes to demand curve. Basically, demand curve shows the maximum quantities per unit of time that consumers will take at various prices. According to R.G. Lipsey, this curve, which shows the relationship between the price of a commodity and the amount of a commodity the consumer wishes to purchase is called demand curve. And the demand curve slopes downwards from left to right. Basically, the demand curve shows the maximum quantities per unit of a time that consumer will take at various prices. See, next is reason for the law of demand, or we can say the sloping downwards of the demand curve. So, here are some reasons because of this the demand curve sloping downwards. First is law of diminishing marginal utility. Law of diminishing marginal utility: as the price of the commodity falls, consumer purchases more of the commodity so that his marginal utility from the commodity also falls to equal to the reduced price. And if the prices rises, the opposite happens. Next one, new consumers is the reason for sloping downward of the demand curve. See, when the price of a commodity is reduced, then many other consumers who were not consuming the commodity earlier will start purchasing it now because it is within their reach now. Next is income effect. Income effect: as the price of a commodity is reduced, he can get the same commodity for less amount. And this may be taken to be a rise in his real income. Part of the increase in his real income can be used for purchase more of the cheaper commodity. So, when the price falls, amount demanded rises and vice versa. Next is substitution effect. Substitution effect: when the price of the commodity falls, it becomes cheaper as compared to the other commodities which the consumer is purchasing. And as a result, the consumer would like to substitute the cheaper commodity for other commodities whose price remain the same. Last, different uses of the commodity. Commodities can be put to more uses. If their prices is reduced, the commodity will be put to many other uses where it had not been used earlier, and the demand will go up. And if their prices rise, they are used only for the more important purpose and the demand will go down. So these are the reason for the law of demand, or we can say the sloping downward of the demand curve. Next is exceptions, or we can say limitations of law of demand. Here are some limitations of law of demand. What are these? Or we can say exceptions to the law of demand. First, given goods or special type of inferior goods. See, there are some commodities or consumptions which are inferior. We can take an example, bread, broken rice, jowar, bajra, etc. Sir Giffen pointed out that the law of demand does not apply to the inferior goods. He could practically show that with a fall in the price of bread or broken rice or jowar, its amount demanded is reduced rather than being more than before. And this is called Giffen paradox. In this, as the price of bread falls in the market, they can purchase the same amount of bread with less money. The money income saved thereby is not spent on purchasing more bread. Rather, it is spent on purchasing more of superior commodity. This reduces the demand for bread as its price goes down. Therefore, bread is a special type of inferior good whose amount demanded changes directly with the change in its price and not inversely as expected from the law of demand. Right? Next is article of distinction. Article of distinction, we can say, like diamond and jewelry is more when their prices is high, and the demand for article of distinction falls with a fall in their price. Next is expectation of change in price in future. See, If people expect a rise in price in future, they will rush to purchase more of the commodity at the present prices. And if they expect the prices to fall, they will purchase less of the commodity to get benefit from the fall in price later. So, last, ignorance on the part of consumer about quality. See, a lower price commodity may be considered inferior and purchasers buy lesser amount of it. But when its price is more, they consider it to be superior and they may purchase more of the commodity than before. So, the law of demand has its more important in price determination, in perfect competition, tax imposition, and in planning for individual purchase of commodities and planning of industries regarding the production of output. So, these are the exceptions or we can say limitations of law of demand. Thank you.